I'm going to try a different format with my recording today. I think my head typically blocks a lot of stuff, and it's just simpler for me to do this. So I spent some time to add in Shadcn to this little TanStack start template I've been kind of working on. And we are logged in. And one thing I want to do is I want to make an app where people can give video suggestions. So if there's like a blog post or a Reddit post you want me to respond to, or an idea that you want me to kind of talk about, or maybe it's something you want to learn. Maybe there's like you want me to teach you about React hooks or something. I want to have a consolidated place where people can go and leave me a suggestion or leave me a video idea. So I'm going to try to code this like I would any other day. Like I'm just going to do a live coding, which typically involves AI first development at this point. So if you want to follow along, that's what we're going to be doing. So what I want to do is I want the ability for a user to add an idea. So I'm going to go ahead and say some of the stuff you can just do yourself, right? I don't need to have AI do everything for me. So I could say idea. That's going to be a new idea table. And when storing an idea, maybe we want a title. Maybe we want a description. I don't think we want to complete it just yet. So we'll add that. We're going to do a generate to generate the migration scripts. Okay, so now we got a nice migration script that defines the table and adds a constraint over the user ID as a foreign key. And then I can just go ahead and run it. So I'll do a migrate. That'll apply it to my database. So now that we have this table, what I want to do is I want to go to my main route here. And in the index, here it is. I want to go ahead and try to bring in, like if I look at the UI over here, I want to be able to list out all the suggestions in a list or something so that people can upvote on them. So I'm going to go ahead and say, please use the newly defined idea table so that we can fetch them all using a TanStack server function. Okay, so I want to say update this index to fetch them and display them in a list of cards. Use a Shadcn card. Please install it for me, right? So what I found with AI is like, give it as much context as you think it might need. And hopefully this will try to run a command to install the card component because I don't think I already have it in my components directory. So it should probably try to add it. I don't know why it's using p-npm, so I'm actually going to stop this and I'm going to say, remember to use npm. I do not use bun or npm or whatever else there is. Redo this. Okay, let's just go ahead and see if it can make progress. And remember to use npx. Okay, let's run that. Now, one thing I will say is the cursor has the ability to like remember stuff. So while it's kind of cooking, I'm going to go to the cursor settings and then we're going to go to memories. I think I can go to, was it rules? Manage memories. Let's say show. I don't have any memories. How do I add a memory though? I guess I just add it to the rules here. I'll say project. And then here I'll say always. When trying to install packages, always use npm or npx. I do not use bun or pnpm or yarn. Okay, I just want cursor to remember to like never try to prompt me again to use pnpm. Okay, so while this is cooking, we can kind of read through the code. Hopefully that's generating. Looks like it's bringing in that card component. Pretty good. Let's see, bring in the Drizzle EQ, bring in the idea. I want to make sure that it is creating a server function. So fetch ideas function. It is using a middleware. That's good. So again, just review the code. Make sure you understand it. It's trying to fetch from the idea table where you have an idea equal to the current user you're logged in as. This is not what we want, right? So I actually want to get everything. I'm actually going to get rid of that. And I think, is there anything else I need to actually do here? I think that should be good. I just want to make sure that I get everything, not just the ideas that you own. Going down here, it's going to fetch the ideas. Okay, what else are we doing? We're loading them. We got some cards displayed. This looks good. Let's just accept. We'll go back to the UI. Okay, so it does show a loading and then it kind of goes away. So let's go back. I'm going to say, now please add a placeholder section to let users know they can create or upload their first idea suggestion. this should invoke a TanStack server function to create and persist the idea inside the idea table. Okay, let's just run this real quick. I think it should be pretty fast. Now, sometimes I've noticed that like cursor gets stuck. So I literally just stop it and like rerun it. And then like it just makes progress a lot faster. I don't know why. Maybe their backend gets overwhelmed. But if it takes longer than 5 or 10 seconds to actually like look like it's doing something, I would just stop it and restart it. Okay, so it created the idea function. Requires a title and a description. It does require authentication. It's going to create an idea and then it saves it in the database. That looks good. And then we should have a placeholder. So if I accept this and go back to my app, there's no ideas yet. Let's just go ahead and create one. I'll say like, make sure this is required. Cool. Awesome. But now there's no way to actually add another one. So I'm going to say, can you please add a form at the very bottom of the page which allows users to upload new ideas/suggestions. Additionally, please use React hook form or form hook to add validation, client-side validation. That should be good. Let's just go ahead and run that. I don't think I've installed React hook form yet, so let's just install it. And then that should be good. Go ahead and submit this. Okay, so now we have the ideas up here. Tells us when it was created. And then we can submit a new idea over here. Let's make sure validation's working. Awesome. So some things I might manually do is we're going to go and just extract this header out to a different file. I'm going to make components here. I'll just say header. Go ahead and just paste this in. Export it. It's kind of a pain to like figure out how to import stuff with Shadcn. So honestly, I'm just going to grab all the stuff that we were missing and just import it to the top. And then all of this can just kind of go away. All right, what are we missing here? This should be good. Auth client, make sure you import that. And then I can go over here and find that header. Make sure I import that from the top. Okay. And the reason I did that is because I want to be able to fuzzy search to quickly find the header if I ever want to in the future. Okay, so we have the header. Now, let's go ahead and just inside of that header, I want to add a horizontal rule. So I think I can actually add a border bottom here on this whole thing. Border bottom, border 2, gray 200. That's not what I was going for. Actually, I need to extract all this and probably put it in there. All right, there it goes. Looks a little bit better. Actually, I think I need to get rid of this border 2 here. Add item center there. I also want to add a footer. So like, let's just copy this and just rename it and say footer. And then we're going to say footer here. And I'm going to say refactor this. Refactor this component to show a basic footer with the brand on the left and some links to privacy policy, terms of service, contact, and email, etc. with a gray border top. All right, let's see what it did here. Looks like it kind of got rid of everything. I could use the footer, so let's go over here, and in the body, we probably want to say footer, import that, go back. Okay, it looks pretty good, but it's in white. Not what I was kind of looking for. They gave it a hard-coded white, not good. So I want to be able to switch it from light mode to dark mode. Make sure this looks pretty good. I just want to give it some like random height. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I want the email to be on the left. I'm gonna add logo here. These I want to be like horizontal, so I'm actually gonna say flex call. And then over here on the right, this I actually want to put underneath the logo. So I could probably do that. And then this whole thing, again, flex column. Privacy policy, terms of service, and contact. I guess that's fine. Probably good to test it when you go to mobile, make sure it looks good. Again, this is like a rapid prototype, not the best looking app. And then for the submitted app idea, I want to find where that is. And I want to go ahead and just put some spacing in between this stuff. So here I could probably say gap of 12. Make sure this gets gapped up. Spacing between it. And then the bottom, I actually want to add like a class. I'll say margin bottom of 4 or 8. I just want to kind of push this away. Okay, there we go. Probably also add like a horizontal ruling here. Something simple. So I could just say like HR. Not that. There we go. Submit an idea. So I think in the card, I actually want to add the avatar of the person. So I could just find where in the header I'm doing an avatar already and grab that code. And then inside of here somewhere, probably up, we're doing a map somewhere. I got to find out where we're doing the map. Oh, here it is. So here I could probably just figure out where to put the avatar. Probably just need to import some stuff. And then instead of session, this needs to actually be like the user idea, which I don't think we have the user joined to that. So what I could do is find out where we're using this, which is here. And then we are going to select, I want to say join with the user table to get the user profile image. Let's see if it's smart enough to kind of understand Shadcn, or sorry, understand Drizzle to do that. So doing a left join. Let's make sure we import the user table. We should have a user image and a user name. Okay, so this is just doing a left join. Hopefully the user exists. And then over here, I think this should be user image now. Now, I don't like how this isn't typed, like it's typed as any. I don't feel like we need to do that. We could just get rid of the any there. Yeah, we only want to show this. Let's try this. Okay, there we got the image showing up. Yeah, now we could probably just scale it down a little bit. I think there's a size property. Maybe not. I could just say size of 4. And I think that should scale it down. Maybe a size of 6 would be better. And then I want to put this all in one line. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut this out. And then we are going to, actually, no, I'm going to put, wrap this whole thing in a flex. Give it a gap of 4. And probably give it an item center. There we go. Gap of 4 is a little too big, actually. Give it a 2. Created at that time. Okay, so far this is doing pretty good. I mean, it's not the best. I think the border bottom and the border top needs to be changed. Let's find the header and let's find that border bottom. In fact, when we're doing light mode, it'd probably be something else. So dark mode would be gray, 900, light mode would be gray. This, let's go back and make sure it looks good in light mode. Same thing with the footer. Let's go find the footer. And then we're going to grab the same idea. We're going to just, boom, that should fix it. Okay. Go back to system. That'll make it dark mode. Yeah, I think we're making some progress. We're cooking, you know, we're cooking. What else can we potentially do here? I mean, I think if you own the idea, maybe the ability to delete it. So again, this would be a good idea to add in the agentic. So if a user owns the idea, allow them to click a delete icon, trash icon, to delete the idea. Please show a confirmation modal before allowing that idea to be removed. Invoke a TanStack start server function to remove it. When they confirm, allow the confirmation modal to be dismissed. If they don't want to delete, please use a Shadcn confirmation modal or whatever you think is best to achieve this. Okay, we are going to go ahead and just submit this. And again, I'm trying to do a live coding. This is how I code when I'm not trying to like teach everything. There's really two different ways to code when I'm on YouTube, right? There's me like really trying to teach you How does TanStack work? How does server functions work? How does middleware work? How does a database query work? And then there's the other side of me just like coding. Like if I wasn't on camera, trying to code as fast as I can, try to make sure everything's good, and using agentic coding, like AI first development, I would call it, is typically the way I do stuff. So if I can ask AI to just implement it, I will. If it's something simple I can do myself, I will do that. If I'm stuck, I will use the chat feature to kind of help me get unstuck. There's a lot of different ways I like to code. I'll also say this component is getting a little bit large. One thing I'll point out is that as your components get larger, AI gets slower. So if you can find a way to structure your page into smaller components and different files, and then you can quickly just pull in a reference to a file, as long as it's like encapsulated very well, and it's like isolated and doesn't need a bunch of extra stuff, AI can do really good at iterating on like different parts of your page. Like for example, if I made a whole component for this card in a different file, then I could quickly just click and drag that file into the prompt, and then I wouldn't have to have like all these tokens be used. So it is a strategy to get like more efficient at using AI when you start seeing like when it starts falling apart. But for the most part, I'm definitely going to go and double check the delete function. It is an authentication. We check to make sure that the user has an ID with that ID, and then we delete it. Yeah, this looks good. I'm going to go ahead and just submit this. We're going to go click on this. Can I delete this idea? Let's just go ahead and delete all of them. No ideas yet. Let's just go ahead and submit this. And then that got added. So one thing I should say is that when I submit the idea, I want to show a toast. And I will say that submitting the idea, this is starting to get a little bit hard to manage. So I'm actually going to find out where we have idea hook form, share your submitted idea. Okay, I'm going to take this whole card and we're going to make a new thing here. I'll just call it submit idea form TSX. I do believe putting this underscore will make it hidden. Actually, no, I think it's a minus. Put a minus and I'll make it hidden. And then I want to make sure if I save it, yeah. So then I can just return that stuff. Probably need to import all this stuff again. Honestly, sometimes it's faster to just like import all this stuff that you had in the other file. And then you could just simply hover over it and say remove any unused imports. Okay, let's go over here. I want to grab the definition of this. Where do we grab this one? Okay, let's grab all this stuff. We're going to cut that out. We're going to put this in here as well. Okay, and then I should be able to basically say submit idea form. Make sure you export it so we can use it. I'm going to go back to the other file. We're going to go ahead and just delete this. Okay, here we go. What other things do we need to give it? Give it an on submit. Is creating, is loading, what is this stuff? Let's just fix this stuff. Does this need to be imported? Okay, so hopefully this works now. I'm just going to double check that what we added does work. Just go ahead and type some code, click submit, and it did work. ZZZZ. Awesome. Okay, so again, why did I do that? Because this was like 100 lines of code that we extracted out of the index so that now when we start prompting AI to do things with this page, it could hopefully do it a little bit faster. And again, if productivity and performance is your key and maintainability is something you care about, it's probably good to extract things. Now, the second thing you probably ask is like, okay, maybe create idea function could be pulled out into that component. I think it could be. So let's just move it out. I'll put it up here. We are going to import some things to make this work. The reason we're doing that is instead of like passing that thing here, I'm actually going to pull that out as well. And then I can just go to my card. I should be able to just get this all set up. Query client. Let's find the query client. We can pull that out. Or we at least put it up there, import that. Do I use this anywhere else? I do when I delete an idea. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make sure is pending creating Oh, this whole thing could be in the form, actually. I'm going to go ahead and cut this stuff out. We can put it in the form itself. I'll put it right there. And then hopefully we don't need an onSubmit anymore. We can call it create idea right there. I don't think we even need onSubmit, so I'll delete the onSubmit. Is loading, do we really need that as a thing passed in? I don't think so. So we're going to find out where we're using this thing and just kind of like remove that stuff. Don't think we need it. This stuff I don't think we need either. So again, sometimes you add more stuff than you actually need. This thing is loading, is creating. How about that? Let's find out where that's being used. It's being used on a disabled button, on a text area, basically disabling all the form stuff when the thing is actually submitting. Okay, so what are we at now? We're at 113 lines. So like we have done a little bit better. Let's make sure it works. So go back to the page and I'm going to go ahead and just like delete all this stuff again. Go ahead and submit this. It's still working, okay? And we do see it flash real quick, so I think that's good. Now, can we make this better? Can we make this better? Now, I think there's another card where we could probably extract the whole idea out to another component. So we're going to go and just load up this. I'll say idea card, ESX. We're going to go ahead and just say export function idea card. We'll worry about the actual like props in a second, because right now I don't know what we need to pass in. Like we definitely need to pass in the idea, and then we could say idea card, and then all this stuff can kind of go away. Okay, make sure that's good. And then this thing needs to take in a type that kind of looks like this. I would kind of like this to not be so type idea. Do that. Okay, and this is going to take in an idea. Let's make sure we import all the stuff that we're missing. So I think all this could basically go to the top. What else do we need? Forms, trash. Okay, I think some of this stuff don't really need yet. The most tedious part of coding is importing these things. Go ahead and do that one. Let's do this one. Set delete target. What was this being used as? Okay, so I think deleting an idea also came from the idea card. It's like a nested delete trash icon. So like you could probably pull this out to a function as well. I'm actually just going to pull in some of this stuff. I don't think we need to use query. We definitely need to use mutation. The delete idea function, wherever that's defined, definitely needs to be pulled out. So I'll go ahead and just pull that out there. And then what else do we need to actually import? Oh gosh, this is a pain. Again, you could let AI try to do this. Maybe I'm wasting time doing it myself. But I have found that sometimes just doing it yourself gives you better accuracy. Do I need the session? Why do I get this? Current user ID, delete target, track which ID is being deleted in modal state. Okay, so definitely need to keep that one open. Okay, so this needs to go away. Query client goes away. Current user ID, I guess, goes away. This goes away. This goes away. And then we can also, the whole dialogue. I'm pretty sure this was actually pulled in over here, right? Dialogue. Okay, I actually need to like, you can nest the dialogue directly in the card, I guess, technically. So technically I could just do this and then we could do that. It might be a little bit not as performant because you're like making a bunch of cards, but we will just do this and then we're going to go ahead and just do a quick fix. I think there's some duplicate things going on. Remove any duplicate imports. Okay, this is looking better. Again, here's another file. It's 145 lines. So we kind of took that giant route and we just extracted it into its own thing. And now, like the main index, just delete that one. What else are we not using? That. Okay. Okay, yeah, so if you look at the main route, it's a lot cleaner. It's simpler. So you just saw like a refactoring that I did live for you all, where we basically fetch some ideas, we pass those here, we have a submit form, and then hopefully if we didn't break anything, this whole thing should hopefully work as it did before. So can I delete? I can. Let's just add a couple. Just delete the CASZ one. It looks fine. Let's just do a hard refresh. Everything looks good. Now again, the reason I did that is because in the future, let's say I just want to modify the submission section. Much easier, just click and drag and just do a prompt that's specific to this component. Everything's nice and encapsulated. And I don't have to go and like drag in all these other components. And again, the code's just a little bit easier to read and maintainable. If you kind of do stuff like this, like anytime you're doing a map, probably just make a separate component. Anytime you have a form, probably just wrap in its own component. Sometimes you do have to share state between these, and that's when it gets a little bit annoying and complicated. Like you can do prop drilling, you could do some type of like Shadcn shared state. You could do, I don't know, there's a bunch of different approaches. You could do like context in React. But I think this is a pretty good setup. The only performance thing I would complain about is the idea card having nested dialogues for every single card. Like if you go and look at the up here where we map over all the cards, you'll see that each one has a dialogue. Okay, and maybe that's an issue. Maybe it's not. In fact, I don't even see the dialogue pop up. Let's see, where are the cards? Here's the cards. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the dialogue even like shows up in the DOM until it like, you click on this button and then it'll show up. So is it really an issue? Maybe if you have like thousands of these ideas in a list, but at that point you need pagination and like, you know, lazy scrolling or something like that. So I think this is pretty good. I'm actually going to just go ahead and submit this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just say like adding the ability to upload an idea. Okay, I don't know how long my camera's been frozen here, so I'm just going to wrap up this video. Have a good day. Happy coding.